What's up, everyone? I'm Rick Knight. Welcome back to another video here at The Bad Philosopher. So our mayor, Bill de Blasio, is in New Hampshire. He was also in Iowa. I think he's deciding whether he wants to run for president. He's out there in some of those important swing states, trying to test the waters and see if he could if he would have any support, if it's worth putting his hat in the ring. And I would say no, considering that his last stop in New Hampshire was there was 20 people he was speaking to. It was a crowd of 20 people. There was probably like a senior home or something who didn't know who he is. I don't know, but him speaking to 20 people, he's the mayor of New York City and he's considering running for president, and only 20 people came to watch him speak, and I'm pretty sure half of them work there or something like that. It's you had 10 people to show up and they probably didn't even know who you are or something. The funny part, it kind of reminds me of years back when I was a comic. I used to perform comedy, and I used to travel the country here and there from city to city, a couple shows here, a couple shows there, different comedy clubs. And sometimes you would have very low turnouts. There'd be 20 people in the audience, and you're like, oh, well, whatever. They don't know who I am. They're not here to see me. I'm just a nobody. It's kind of but it's different because he's not a nobody. He's the mayor of New York City. You would think that they would come out to watch him speak. Like me, I was just a nobody comic sliding into town. They have no idea who I am. I didn't even have YouTube channels of me performing. They were just going in there blind. They didn't know what to expect from me, right? At least I have an excuse for why it was just low turnouts in some of the shows that I've done. Or when he performed here in New York City to a crowd of 3. You know what I mean? It's almost like an open mic. This guy was doing an open mic of politics. He was, he shows up to talk to 20 people who are just sitting there we don't give a shit about you. We really don't. I wonder if these are just 20 really super polite people, or are they the only 20 people in the entire state of New Hampshire that thinks it's a good idea for Bill de Blasio to run for president? And again, how many of them worked there and had to be there? How many of them were sitting there? How many of them were just happened to be there when all this was happening, and they're like, let me just check this out and see what's going on? I mean, it's just a complete failure for de Blasio. I wish that was the response that he got when he was running for mayor here in New York City, because he's doing such a terrible job. Him and his wife are accused of wasting over $1 billion here in the city on complete nonsense. Yes, his wife also implemented in this wasteful spending, and who is she? We didn't vote for her. She's not my mayor. She's not the one that's running this city. She should have no say in anything. She should actually keep her mouth shut. I know that's very, very sexist. Speaking of that, of her keeping her mouth shut and sexist and all that nonsense with the wives of the person who was elected to be the person in charge. Beto O'Rourke, also known as the Mexican American, Irish American, whose real name is Robert, by the way, while he was sitting there, when he announces his candidacy for president, and his wife was there, and he was doing all the hand gestures, kind of looked like he was signing to the deaf, and deaf being the liberals at this point in the game. His wife was very silent. She didn't say anything, rightfully so, because she's not the one running for president. That's one. 2, maybe she's just shy. 3, maybe politics is not something that she's really interested in, that other than her husband being a politician, or so maybe she just doesn't know what to say because it's just not her thing. You know what I mean? So she's quiet on the issue. So I saw some crackpot liberals through Twitter and stuff, women that were shooting out tweets saying that, oh, it's time for women to stand up and this and that, and they were alluding to the fact that Beto's wife was quiet. We're not voting for her to run. She's not the person that we are voting for. So maybe she should keep her mouth shut. De Blasio's wife should have kept her mouth shut and stayed out of politics. Melania Trump, Trump's wife, keep your mouth shut. We didn't vote for you. Well, Michelle Obama, who the hell are you? We didn't vote for you. We voted for your husband. It kind of reminds me of the Bill Burr, the comedian Bill Burr. I love Bill Burr. His joke when he said, it's like the plumber coming over with his wife to look at your plumbing issues, and it's everybody be quiet. I want to hear what she has to say about this. It's she's not the one making the repair. The plumber is. Let the plumber look at it and say what's wrong and what needs to be done. Not the wife. Who the hell are you? Imagine I was married, right? Let's just say I was married to a nurse, a registered nurse or something, and somebody asked her a medical question that's within the realm of her experience and her knowledge, and then here I am saying, hey, everybody's listen to me. I'm a plumber, and I also have a YouTube channel, so everybody listen to me. I don't know shit about being a nurse or biology or anything like this or the medical field. No, I should shut my mouth and let my wife answer the question, right? If I was married to a woman who decided to run for public office, who the hell am I? Keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut and let her do her job. Nobody wants to hear what you have to say. We didn't vote for you. So I mean, it's ridiculous. But back to de Blasio. Ooh, man, it'd be nice if he would keep his mouth shut. Too bad people actually voted for this moron, thinking that he was going to be a good mayor. He's not. We have a couple of issues here. Housing is torn apart between repairs that haven't been, done in New York City housing. Still an issue with lead paint. You have, residents that have been put in for apartment changes, either because the apartments that they're in are too small for their size of their family, or because there's so much damage to the apartment, or there's leaks coming from all over the place because there's lead paint, or a whole host of issues. Meanwhile, there's apartments that have been vacant apartments for years, and they have not been renovated yet, and they haven't been rented out to anyone. So that's an issue. We have an issue with child services here. Big issue with child services that the city has dropped the ball on, with abusive parents and kids lost in the system and stuff like that. You have a lot of issues going on with New York City. We have a crazy homeless situation going on here, and the Blasio and his wife has wasted over $1 billion on complete nonsense. Where did this money go? The New York City schools are still failing schools. There's something like 100 schools, at least 100 schools across the city that are complete failures. And the schools are either getting shut down or they were already shut down. What they do is they like to merge schools together. So you have 100 schools, let's say, and the 100 schools are completely failing schools. So what they do is they merge the schools together to make them like two schools together, right? So now it's only 50 failed schools and not 100. Then they can say, look, we reduced it. It's like you didn't reduce anything. 100, it's still 100% rate of failed schools, right? All you did was put them together. You take all the crappy schools, you put them together, and now you don't have 100 failed schools. You have 50 failed schools. What does it matter? 100% of the failing schools are still failing. You just merged them together, made two schools in one building to try to find the loophole around why you have so many failed schools. Like, everyone is onto that. Bloomberg did that. You know what I mean? And everybody was onto it when he did it. You're merging schools. What does that mean? Now you have two schools merged into one building. They're both failing. So on paper, you put it down as one school. What the hell does that mean? It's just nonsense. So here's de Blasio, who's again just wasteful spending, nonsense. A lot of people have compared being mayor to New York City to being president of the United States, and they say if you can be mayor of a city like New York, being president is not it's not too far off. Like, this is great experience going into the White House, being a mayor of New York City, because that's how complicated the city is to run. So it's like it's an amazing, it's a wealth of knowledge and experience running New York City. So when you run for for the president of the United States, it's like, look, I was former mayor of New York City. I'm right for this position. I've been trained in dealing with a complex system to run. But we can also say that if you're a failed mayor of New York City, should we really trust you to be president of the United States? Look, let's be honest, being president of the United States is way more, it is more complicated and more at stake, than being, a mayor of New York City. The president is way more important than just, being mayor here. Granted, it is a complex city, New York, Chicago, there's quite a few cities here in America that if you're the mayor of, it's very complex to run these type of cities. So yes, it's a very good experience going into the White House, but it's still not the same. President is the top, office in the land, top job that you can have in this country, and we really don't need a failed New York City mayor who who cannot get his act together here. There's one pay-to-play scandal after the next coming from him. He really doesn't have much support. I mean, they're blaming Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, which rightfully so, for the Amazon deal not going through. And it's like, well, where were you, de Blasio, while she was opening her mouth and bothering Amazon to prevent them from coming here? People were protesting them. Where were you? You were silent. You didn't say anything after Amazon backed out. Now you step up and say, well, you know what? I think she doesn't understand the deal or anything, and that's why she said what she said, and that's why they left. No, he didn't say anything. He didn't engage them at that time. He didn't go down there or contact them and say, yo, you're making a huge mistake. He didn't go to the media to say, listen, AOC and her people over there protesting Amazon, and it's a huge mistake. They don't understand what the implications behind doing that, and how important it is to bring Amazon here for jobs and stuff like that. No, he didn't do that. He waited until it was all said and done, and then said, you know what, now looking back, maybe she shouldn't have said anything. She didn't understand how the deal was. It was like, what are you blaming her for? What the hell did you do while she was doing that? Did any of the politicians stand up and say anything? Where was Cuomo? Where was anyone to tell her, listen, shut your mouth and disappear? You don't know what you're talking about. You're a brain dead, former a bartender who supposedly has a degree in economics from Boston University. She should sue them. What kind of degree did they sell her? She should really sue them. They should contact her and beg her to not, don't talk about getting a degree from us. You know what I mean? Please be quiet, because you have no idea what the hell you're talking about. She supposedly has an economic degree, and yet this woman didn't know that New York City and New York State was not giving $3 billion to Amazon. They were allowing them to keep $3 billion of tax money that they would have paid, if they brought that amount of jobs. So it's kind of like what economists, and she should have known this, opportunity cost or something like that, or whatever the hell it is. Like, yeah, we're not going to collect that $3 billion from them, but we're going to collect a lot more from them, and because of them, when they bring these jobs and do what they're going to do, we're actually going to make more money off of it. So, you know what? If you're willing to give me $10, and then you're like, you know what? I'm going to keep 3 of it, and I'm going to give you 7. Okay, fine, that's $7 I didn't have. Yeah, no problem, give me the $7. Okay, fine, but I have to let you keep 3. You want to give me 10, but I got to let you keep 3, so I make 7. Okay, that sounds like a good idea to me. I mean, it's just complete nonsense on her side. And then even nonsense with Bill de Blasio. He didn't step up and say anything, and that's because he's scared to death of her. He's scared, he's a progressive. They're progressives. He's afraid that if he would have said anything, that they would have turned against him. He didn't want this. Like, this is, it's cowardly behavior. And yet he wants to run for president. There he is in New Hampshire, pandering to a crowd of 20. They're probably like senior citizens. And he's probably in like a nursing home. Half of them live there. The other half are like visiting visiting their brother or something who's in a nursing home. And, here they are. De Blasio is there speaking. Half that crowd probably sat there and didn't even know what the hell he was talking about. Didn't even know, didn't have anything to ask him. They didn't even know what to ask or how to ask a question or something. And, it's pathetic for the mayor. But I'm happy it went down that way. Hopefully all of his rallies go down that way. Hopefully every time all his speaking engagements is just like low turnout, and they just don't give a shit what he has to say, because he's not going to get the votes. Let him run for president. I think it's a good thing that he runs. I think it's going to help us out a lot more. We'll just keep adding the amount of brain dead Democrats on that side, the amount of clowns. Just keep, stack the clowns up on that side. Let them all run. Let them all kill each other. Let them all beat each other up. Let them call each other out. Let them do what they have to do. Let them bump each other off and prove how terrible the Democrats are. All this is just guaranteeing Trump, a 2020 victory in the presidential election. So, if creepy Joe Biden doesn't run, I don't see anyone on the left that has a chance of beating him. Creepy Joe might have a chance to compete with Trump, but the rest of the clowns over there, I don't think that there's a chance. I think Trump has this one in the bag. So, de Blasio running for mayor, him and Beto O'Rourke, the Mexican American Irishman. All it does is help us out. More and more, it demonstrates the kookiness of the left. So, all right, that's all I have right now. I just wanted to take the time to pretty much shit on Mayor de Blasio, because he's a terrible mayor and shouldn't be here. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Until the next time, I haven't made a video in a couple days. I've been really, really busy with work and school and a few other things. So I had my son over for a couple days, and my son is 20 years old. I haven't really spent much time with him in the last few months, so I wanted to just stay away from YouTube and stay away from from everything and just spend some time with him. So, all right, that's all I got. Please like, comment, share, hit the bell, and I will see you. Please subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next video.